first moved to the state in 1992, I lived in the Radisson Encore Inn up on 41st Street in Sioux Falls for about 5 months, and Ron was the GM, and I had keys to the kitchen, so I still thank you for that. Thank you. Before I get started with an introduction, I'd like to just make a few comments. One is a quote by Will Rogers that says, "I'm not a member of any organized party. I'm a Democrat." I resemble that statement, and I'm proud to be a Democrat from South Dakota. And I'm originally from the south side of Chicago, and I've been a Democrat for 47 years. And I just been thinking that we are doing some wonderful things in the state in terms of organizing and really being on our way, well on our way to winning the State House back in 2010. So I think that's awesome. Each and every one of those efforts. Again, before I get started with my introduction, I'd like to make just a couple of global comments about the primary season that we just went through. And I think that the takeaway for me from that season, that historic primary season, is that we were this close in this country to nominating the first woman of a major party. We are, as you can see the separation, this close to officially nominating the next President of the United States, Barack Obama, as our the first African American on a major party ticket in this country. I think the takeaway from all of that, while we were all running around debating and in the tank for our particular candidates, the takeaway is that you can never tell a little black kid who might be growing up in Rapid City that he or she can't be President of the United States. Or some Native American young lady maybe down in Mission, South Dakota, that she can't be President of these United States. I think that top has come off of that bottle, and we will never be able to put that genie back in the bottle. And I think that's on behalf of our state party officers, Jack Billion and Cheryl Chapman and Sharon Stroshine and Nick Nemick, I'd like to again welcome you. And also on behalf of Bill Niplink and Rick Hansen, and I'd like to say thank you to our convention co-chairs, Wendell Lykin and Kathy Pearsall, and our convention secretary, Lisa Ingalls, our convention parliamentarian Jason Frericks, who's running for the House in District 1. And our Democratic House leader, Dale Harding, who's also running for the state Senate. I'd like to say welcome and thank you again. Our speaker today represents the spirit of the new Democratic Senate caucus in Pierre. Nothing is exemplified that more than her use of her intellect, her skills in debate, and her humor in making the words well known and understood during the last Democratic session, a presumption of openness. The issue of open government, whether or not the state or local governments in South Dakota are the property of politicians and bureaucrats, or whether the government truly belongs to the people. Access is everything, and in a democracy, access is the most essential element to a free and informed citizenry. Our speaker was born and raised in Cottington County in a family whose name is a fixture in Cransburg. She attended some of the nation's most prestigious colleges and invested her talents and her future back here in her home state. She reportedly got the cold shoulder from some of the established law firms in Watertown, and then decided that the alternative was not to get upset, not to get even, but to just get ahead. Today, her firm is one of the most sought after and successful law firms in all of South Dakota. And when Lee Schoenbeck left the state Senate, she took that Republican seat and took her place in the state Senate, where she has shined and made us proud. And just to show that independence, she's not going to come up here and speak. She's going to stay down there and speak. It is my pleasure to introduce a real rising star in South Dakota Democratic politics and our State House, Senator Nancy Turbak Berry.
Thank you, Malcolm. I told him I'm a lot taller than I look. I don't like to speak from behind a podium. I don't like barriers between people. It's just kind of a theme, I guess, that I have kind of grown up with, probably as one of 7 kids with about 60 first cousins. You just get used to being among folks. Those that know me best would maybe say, Nancy, tell the truth, you just can't stand in one place that long, and that's why you don't go to a podium. But thank you, every one of you, for what you do. Thank you for being here, and thank you for honoring me by letting me be your speaker this noon. The theme that has come through, keeps coming through my mind, and it certainly motivated me last session, and it's something I want to talk to you about today, is the question, whose government is it anyway? It's really that simple. It comes down to that. Whose government is it anyway? I've always taken this democracy stuff pretty seriously. Malcolm's right, I grew up in Conneaut County. A lot of you know Cransburg, my little hometown. And I started school in a one-room school just across the street from where my folks live. At this point, somebody should say, no, you aren't that old. But I'm sure you're thinking it. Please, thank you. But, you know, we would start, like lots of you, we started every school day, gathered around the flag, saying the pledge. And I've always been a very noble, a real believer. And so when we talked about liberty and justice for all, I really took it to heart. And then as a lawyer and a trial lawyer, my life's work is trying to make sure that that really is what we do, give liberty and justice for all. When I learned about the Revolutionary War, I found out that soldiers fought not only with guns that didn't even fire decently, but sometimes without shoes. I was really awed by their commitment to democracy. And one of the privileges I've had has been to have some education out in the northeastern part of our country, and especially being around the Boston area, you're often reminded of Revolutionary War history. And the idea that soldiers would fight with bloody feet and few or no weapons for the sake of democracy still chokes me up today. It's easy, though, to take democracy for granted, and yet every one of you being here reminds us that we don't take it for granted. Democracy is all about participation. Whose government is it anyway? It's all about taking hold, getting involved, and participating. The theme of open government and opening it up to people's awareness and their participation is something that I really have to credit my friend Scott Heidegrim with kind of sicking me on. We were headed to a lunch with the Newspaper Association. I was complaining about a bill that had just come through that was going to close one more bit of state information. And he said, well, why don't you do something about it? And he kind of shoved me out in front of the issue. And at first I just thought it was a philosophical issue, something that in theory made a difference, that it was just something, a principle that